Today's topic is how to start from zero and become rich. Now, rich is relative. Everybody has their own definition of what it means to be rich. Some people feel that being rich is, I want to be a millionaire. Everybody don't feel that way though. Some people want to just make $100,000 a year. That's rich to them. That was rich to me at one point. My first $100,000 was, it felt like 100 million. That was the amount of money that I felt like, man, I finally made it out of poverty. I finally felt like I wasn't trading every hour that I was awake to make a dollar. And that's the hardest part of becoming successful, is changing that mindset to becoming successful. What do rich people know that I don't know? When you don't understand that, you almost view rich people as aliens, you know, and there's so many millionaires. I think it's a statistic that 1,700 millionaires are being created every single day in America. We're in the richest country in the world. When you travel the world, you find that out. If you make $30,000 in America, you're richer than, you're in like the top 1% of the world, which is a crazy thing to think about, because here $30,000 is not doing that good. If you're doing 30,000 here, you've at the bottom of the poverty line, right? But if you take that to a country like Egypt, you're extremely wealthy. So it's all perspective. So that means rich isn't a number. It's not a dollar amount, right? Rich is a mindset. We don't look at the things that we get just for being citizens of America. We don't look at the things that we get as that makes us wealthy. Running water, right? The ability to get up and get in your car and drive wherever you want to, the ability to have the freedom to have a car, the freedom to have a license, the freedom to get on public transportation, the freedom to be able to go to the grocery store, right? And not have to grow your own food. And if you're from other cultures, or if you have family from other cultures, or know anybody from other cultures that live out the country, then you understand that. It's a whole different world. And so training your mind to what rich is the first step of that, is just deciding what is it for you, right? What is it for you? But for me, when I wanted to become rich, I looked at 100,000 was the number. That was me. I wanted to make 100,000 a year. If I could do that, I'm rich. And then once you get there, you realize, okay, there's levels to it. There's another level to this. People are making 100,000 a month. People are making 100,000 in a day. And that's real. People are having $100,000 days, $1 million days. The first time I opened my mind to it, I was riding in my boss's car coming back from, we were getting one of the company truck service. I drove trucks for this company. It was a steel manufacturing company. And I'm riding back, because my truck broke down, I'm riding back to the factory with the owner of the company that I was working for, my boss. And so I was asking him, how's your day going? You know, and this guy is the owner of the company. I'm just trying to see what he knows that I don't. He's riding and he's an older guy. He's riding in the driver's seat, and he says, oh man, had a long day today. Got a lot of work done. I read 5 emails today. I had to go through all these emails, and yeah, man, I'm beat. I'm like, emails from a guy that's doing labor for a living, it makes no sense that you're reading emails is your version of hard work. That's the first time my mind started changing. Like, wait a minute, what does it mean to have money? And then if you allow it, it'll make you bitter, right? We see that a lot. People are upset. People are bitter. Oh man, lazy rich, you lazy, all the rich people this, the rich people that. No, they just understand things that we don't understand when we come from poverty. What are those things, right? Cost versus value. This is one of the things that they understand that I've learned to understand that I didn't understand prior to my success. Cost versus value. What is that? If I told you, hey, I'll sell you this jacket right now, give me $10,000 for it, right? When we come from poverty, we look at it as $10,000 for a jacket? No. We don't even consider, well, what's the value of the jacket? Now, if I told you, I'll sell you this jacket for $10,000, but it has a $100,000 check in the coat pocket, you will buy it for $10,000. Rich people ask those questions. Rich people ask more follow-up questions instead of just what does it cost. Why? Because the value of what you have is more important than the price. A lot of people where we come from, they don't think like that. When you're coming from nothing, you think, oh, cost. What does it cost? What does it cost? Not what do I get, right? Thinking what do I get? That's a mindset change. It's a hard pill to swallow when you don't have, but when you do get into that mind frame, it's an easier transition to understand why people are rich and why people are not. They understand value. You know, there's a Jay-Z line that say, you know the price of everything but the value of nothing, right? He's saying that for a reason. You know the price, you don't know the value. And a lot of times we don't see our time as valuable. So what do? I'll work for this many dollars per hour. You don't look at your hour of your life, you could be doing this. We don't view it that way, right? If I have a landscaping business and an hour of my day, I can work on maybe one house, right? But an hour of my day, I also could do a video teaching people how to work on one house. But 100 people see it, right? So I just taught 100 people instead of that one house. It's a difference in mindset, right? My time is so valuable, I got to get the most out of my time that I possibly can. So if I'm going to spend an hour doing something, it has to reach more than just this one person. That's where you start changing the mindset. How can I reach more people, right? So that's cost versus value, time. Another thing that we do when we're not coming from anything, as far as money, or when we're starting from the bottom, starting from zero, trying to become rich, we look at time as everything that saves us time, we're conditioned to oppose it. So when you come from poverty, you look at the person that has a butler, or the person that has a gardener, right? Or the person that has a pool person, or toll roads, or private jets. You look at those as, oh, they bougie. Why you got somebody washing your clothes? Your wife is in the house. Well, I don't want to. My time with my wife is valuable. I want to save the time. It's not about. That's the value mindset over the cost. I'll spend the money to get the more valuable thing back, which is time. But we don't think of it that way because from the beginning of our childhood, we're taught, go to school. You put enough time in at school, you go to college, you put enough time in at college, you get a good job. 4-year degree, 2-year degree. Everything that we value is based on time, right? So we have to understand that time is more valuable than money. That's the first step of changing your mindset. It's one of the first steps. You know, time is more valuable than money. For my time, I got to maximize. I'm not going to wash my own car. Why? Because that takes time. I'm going to go to the car. I'm going to pay the $10 because there's value in that, me getting that time back. I'm going to pay the toll roads because the time that I get to spend doing something else other than sitting in traffic is worth it. We don't think like that when we come from poverty. We think, man, look at them in the toll road. They bougie. They're not bougie. They just understand I would rather do this than waste my time doing that. So taking back your time, buying back your time. It's important. I made an oath to myself that I'm not going to airports anymore. I'm flying private because I want to fly private. What do I got to do to be able to afford to fly private, right? Whatever that takes, that's what we're going to do. Why? Because my time is more valuable. I don't want to sit at the airport. I don't want to have to fly to somewhere where I get off of this airport and I got to drive an hour to my hotel, or I got to get a rental car and I don't want to do all that. You got to make decisions like that and start thinking like that to have, right? In the Bible, it's defined, the principle is defined as a man thinketh, so is he. So this is something I was studying, which is Proverbs chapter 23. Now I'm going to just read the first few scriptures of it so you guys can understand my thought process on where I was going with this, right? And what came to mind. Proverbs chapter 23 says, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. When you sitting in front of somebody important, consider everything that's going on. Think about everything that's going on. Think, consider it, ponder it, understand what you're involved in right now, what's before you, right? Consider diligently what's before thee. And put a knife to thy throat, and thou be a man, if thou be a man, give into appetite. That means don't be greedy. Just because you're sitting in front of somebody successful, don't gimme, be a taker. Don't be that, right? They're using poetic value to say you might as well kill yourself if you're a taker and not a giver, right? Don't do that. Don't be that person. But it says, be not desirous of his dainties, for thy are deceitful meat. So don't be excited because he's successful looking at all the things he got and be like, man, I want that. Don't do that because there's more value there, right? It says, labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. That means don't work for money, There's bigger things you might think that the wise thing to do when you're sitting in front of somebody successful is to ask for something. But it says it. Labor not to be rich. Don't worry about don't work to be rich. That's not the goal, right? These are all mindset things. It says, will thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven. So when we're talking about time versus money, money is going to always you're going to get it, you're going to spend it, you're going to get it back, you're going to spend it again. That's how money works. You got to understand the value of things. When it says in the first verse of the chapter, when you sit with rulers, consider diligently what's before thee, what's before you, right? There's bigger things than money. There's more important things than money. When it says that riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. They're here today, they're gone tomorrow. You can lose all your money at any time. You can spend it, you get it back. Don't worry about that. It's not as valuable as you think it is, right? But then it goes on to say, eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. The way you think is who you are, right? That's important to understand. How we think is who we are. So when I'm saying, oh man, I don't want to fly commercial no more. I don't care if it's first class. I want to fly private. It's a thought process. You got to think that way, right? As you think, so are you. So it's important to understand that the mindset that we're in is one of the biggest factors on, or contributing factors on how we're going to do in business and if we're going to be successful or not. Now, this is another factor, the reason you want money. Why do you want money? A lot of people think they want money just because I want to be able to put it in my bank account. I want to be able to be comfortable. After you pay your bills, and I'll explain this to anybody, and I always say this to people, once you pay your bills and you have everything that you think you really want to buy, the car you want to buy, the clothes you want to buy, the places you want to go, money is not, you don't understand it until you get it. So it's a hard thing to say to people. But it's not as valuable as you think it is after that. It's just a number in an account after that. You have everything. Now you got to start thinking of, what am I going to do with this? A lot of people, they want money, but they don't even know what they're going to do with it. When I think of reasons I want money, it's typically for something. I don't want money just sitting in my account. I want money because I want to help people, or I want money because I want to do something specifically. It's not because, I just want some money just so I could be rich. People that think like that don't get money because they don't understand the value of it. Money is not meant to be just held. It's meant to be circulated. In the economy, that's how money works, right? You got to spend money for the economy to go good. Everybody got to be spending. If it's sitting in everybody's bank account, it means nothing. And it's a depreciating asset. So the longer money sits still, the less valuable it becomes over time, because inflation every year goes up. And if your money is just sitting there, it's not making any money, it's not an asset. So you got to understand the reason that you want money. Now, there's another step to this, right? This is probably the hardest thing that people struggle with when they're trying to go from zero to becoming rich. This is identifying what you're supposed to do. Oh, how do I find my purpose, man? I like a lot of things. I don't like nothing. People don't know, like, what business should I start? Where should I go? There's an intersection of this. I want to kind of draw, I want to show you guys the intersection of calling. So these are streets, right? These things, and in the middle is purpose, right? Or calling, or whatever you want to call reason, the business you want to start, whatever it is, I call it purpose, right? These are the four things that you have to understand to know which direction you should be going in. One, what do you like to do? If you have a business doing something that you don't really like, but you're doing it to make money, you're not going to make it. It's going to be really hard to make it because you'll stop doing it because you don't like it. You got to actually enjoy what you're doing. So that's number one. What do you like to do? And so many people don't ask themselves that question. They just think, how can I make money? What business can I start to make some money? What do you like to do? Two, right? Come on this side. What are your skills? What are you good at? What are you good at? We got to combine what we like with things that we're actually good at. naturally good at, not things that you have to learn necessarily, who you are, right? These are things that I've always had these. I've always had these skills. I've always known how to talk to people. I've always known how to communicate. I've always known how to work with my hands. I build things. I've always known how to cook. I've always, had a creative eye for art. Whatever those things are, you might not necessarily like it, but you're really good at it, right? Or you might like it, and you just might be both, right? So those are two. Then I'll start down here. You gotta go, what does God want? What does God want from me? That's only going to come by understanding and prayer, and you got to just ask for that, right? You don't know. We don't know. I don't know what God wants from me. I'm trying to find that out, right? You get these three. And the last one is, how can I serve? The more people you help, the more your business is going to prosper. People get mad at athletes, right? LeBron James, he makes $40 million a year. There's people saving lives that don't make that. There's police officers risking their life every single day. Well, that police officer is risking his life for one person a week. That's 52 people a year. LeBron James is playing basketball in front of 52 million people, a day. Every time he goes on that court, 52 million people are watching. So people think that the value of their business is based on how many or the value of their skill or the value of what they're doing. And really, it's how many people are you serving? This person's making more because it's a direct correlation to how many people they're serving. Your money is going to be affected by how many people you can affect. So your purpose, your calling, the business you want to start, the idea you should have, how you find it is, what do I like to do? What am I good at? How can I use those two things to serve people? What can I do with those two things to serve people? And then what does God desire from me? Right? For example, for me, I'm a great communicator. Right? I speak naturally. It's easy for me to get up in front of a crowd of people. It's easy for me to speak to people. It's easy for me to simplify ideas. I'm a communicator by nature. So that's something that I'm good at. Okay? What do I like to do? I like business. I love business. I've always loved business. I'm always going to love business. That's what I like. Okay, so I like to speak. I love business. Okay, what could I do to serve people with those two things? Maybe I could speak to people about business. It seems simple, right? But that's such a hard conclusion to come to when you're starting from zero. It seems simple, but when you're sitting there with anxiety and you're sitting there thinking about your future and how you're going to make money, it's hard to simplify that in your mind. But it is that simple. I like to speak to people, right? I like business. I'm good at speaking to people. How can I serve a lot of people, not just the one person next door? How can I serve a lot of people by doing what I like and doing what I'm good at? How can I communicate business and serve a lot of people? Right? I do content on business. I do content speaking about it to a lot of people. There's a lot of people on YouTube. There's a lot of people on Instagram. This is where I'm serving, right? How can I add God to that? Well, there's biblical principles that God has put in place about business. So this is where I get my service to God. Serving people, serving God, what I like, what I'm good at, right? That's how you find the thing that you're meant to do. This is where you find it. You have an intersection of those things. So that's where I would say people need to start to find their purpose. Now, the third step of this is probably the step that people get hung up the most on is having a plan and executing it. Building a plan is after you find out what it is, now I got to develop, where am I going to get the money to do this, right? Where am I going to get the ideas? I think you have to do everything you can with what you have. In the Bible, it says to count the cost before you start anything. Where's that scripture? I have the scripture here. It's Luke 14:28. It says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. This is in the Bible, right? All you got to do is open the book and read. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying this person began to build and wasn't able to finish. So it tells us before you start something, you need to plan out what you're going to spend, what you're going to do. This is how much it's going to cost to do this. This is how much it's going to cost to do that. You got to have that as a first step, right? Count the cost of what you're going to do. Then you got to be willing to adjust. Don't quit. A lot of people think quitting is bad. I just think we use the wrong words. You know, some people need to quit, right? Like everybody not going to be LeBron James. Everybody not going to be Jay-Z, Lil Wayne. Everybody, you're not going to be that. Everybody's not going to be that guy. Sometimes we need to make an adjustment, right? Maybe you think your skill is in this, but it's actually in that. And people get so hung up on what they enjoy and what they like and what they feel like is their calling because they've seen somebody else do it and they got excited about how that person did it. And I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And maybe it is. But then maybe there's another part of that where there's just something about that you enjoy. And you need to find what that thing is that's specific to you because you can't be anybody else better than you can be you. So everybody has a specific gift that for them, this is what's going to work for you, right? We got to find that thing and execute on that. So count the cost. Don't quit, but always be willing to adjust. Okay, I like doing this. I like music. This is a personal thing for me. I like music. I like writing music, right? But really what that was is I like to take complex ideas and simplify them and put them in the simplest form and communicate them to people. That's what I really enjoy. It's not about the actual song. It's about communicating my ideas in a simple form where everybody else can understand it, right? That's the skill. That's the thing I like. It goes back to our board. The thing I like, the thing that I'm skilled at, the part that's missing is the serve. How is this helping people? See, when we think about serving people, we don't even think about serving people. We think about how can I make money? My pops used to always say this, and it used to irritate me, but now I understand it 100% because I was trying to make money at the time. And my dad used to say, man, you're not trying to make money, you're trying to run a business. Don't think with the mindset of I'm trying to make money. Think of the mindset I'm trying to run a business. What does that mean? That means serving people is more important than how much you make. Doing the right thing, helping people, showing people like this is what I do, and I can do this for you. There's a guy on YouTube that cuts grass for free. He goes around cutting people's grass for free. Now, some people would say that's a horrible business model. He didn't count the cost. That's a bad business model, man. You're about to go out there wasting all your time. You're not counting the cost. But because he's serving, God made a provision for him. So now you're a viral YouTube sensation for cutting the worst lawns in America. All because he was willing to serve. We don't think of it like that. We're not willing to do nothing for free. One of the biggest mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs is, I'm not doing nothing unless I'm getting paid. It's a mistake. Now, here's the flip side of that. A lot of people won't do nothing or won't get nothing. They're bad customers is what I'm saying. People won't pay for anything either. That's just as bad if you're an entrepreneur. How do you want to be a successful anything? You want your job to pay you, but you don't like paying people. It just makes no sense. You're not willing to spend the money on the taco truck that come around at the job, but you want somebody to give you a raise at work. You want somebody else to spend their money on you, but you're not willing to spend your money on anything else. It can't work that way. You know, when you get successful, you learn this. This is a principle of success that helps a lot of people. When you start understanding that when I put out, I get back, when you reap what you sow, right? When I plant, something grows. And when I plant more than what I planted grows. Like I plant one seed, then a tree grows that grows multiple apples, right? So you reap what you sow, man. When you start being more willing to spend, you start understanding why people spend. And then it makes you a better business person. It makes you a better employee. It makes you a better everything. You start understanding the value of things, right? A lot of people don't want to spend money. They think that, oh man, how do I know it's not a scam? You're getting scammed every single day, man. Every time you get a paycheck and they take half those taxes out, right? And you get that tax return at the end of the year and they just been holding your money all year that you didn't get to see and you think you're getting something back because it's a tax. I got my tax refund. That's your money that they've been holding for you, that they owe you for holding too much of your money all year. That's a scam, right? And there is scams out there that you got to be aware of, right? You always got to be wise in any decision that you spend your money on. But the principle is to have a mindset of abundance. Why? Why do we use the Bible? Why do we talk about money? Why is money mentioned so much in the Bible? It's because that's what people care about, right? That's what people care about. And how can we serve a God of abundance when we always think and live in lack? Do you think God wants you to be poor? Why would God want you to be poor? And then you going out there saying, God gave this to me. Well, then I hope that it's something that is attractive to people, right? Because it just doesn't make sense. God created all this, gave us fruits that multiply themselves. I plant one seed, the apple tree grows me 100 apples. Everything multiplies. God doesn't divide and subtract, he adds and multiplies. Everybody would agree on that. So why is it not okay for you to add and multiply? Why does it talk so much about money? Why is 16 of the parables that Jesus taught, out of his 38 about money? Because it's important. So, I got on a tangent, but serve, man. When you guys think of your businesses, when you think about how you're going to be successful, think about how you're going to make somebody else's day better. Think about the problems that you're solving for people. What problem are you solving? A lot of times businesses fail because they don't think about the problems of their customer. You're not thinking about what's going to help somebody else or how it's going to help them. We're thinking from the small frame of how can I do this to make myself some money so I, me, myself, my family, my kids, my wife. We're not thinking about, man, if I just help people, all that'll come. The biggest deals that I've done, some of the most successful stuff that I've done came from me doing a favor for somebody. We just had a meeting with a company. Their worth, last valuation was at $700 million. They're about $1.3 billion now. We met with them this morning, right? The relationship that got me that meeting is something that I did for free 5 years ago. But if I was back then, like, I'm not doing this for free, thinking like that, you wouldn't have the opportunity 5 years from now to do something bigger where there can be more money made, right? Everything that you do matters. Everything that you do matters. But how you serve people is the biggest thing, man. I will leave everybody with that. If you want to go from zero to making a lot of money, to being rich, if you feel like you're starting from nothing, because we never really are. We feel like we're starting from nothing, but we never really are. You're starting from a loving family. You got people that care about you. There's people that don't have that, man. That's not starting from nothing. You're starting with information, a cell phone that can Google anything on this planet. You're starting with opportunity. You live in the land of opportunity, literally, where you could wake up and decide any day that you want, I could be whatever I want today. Any day you want. And I come from a horrible background where I didn't understand that early on. I understand it now. You can wake up and choose, right? Humans are the only thing on this planet that have the ability to create. The only thing. A horse, they can't create. They're going to be a horse is the same way it is today that it was 100 years ago. Humans are the only thing that's different. Humans decide, technology. No, I don't walk, I drive cars. No, I don't drive cars, I fly a 100,000-pound plane in the sky. Humans are the only thing that innovate. Humans are the only thing that create. You have an opportunity. What an opportunity to be a human, right? Just that one gift when you wake up in the morning. Think about how you could use that. There's universal principles that God has set in place for us to be successful. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? Creation. Created the moon, the stars, the planets, right? Then God created the trees. He created creation. He created creatures, trees, plants, animals, squirrels, rats, right? Everything that we see as far as on Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, all that stuff, right? Then he created creators, little mini creators. Go out there and be just like me. Let us make man in our image. So we have the ability to create our own reality the same way God created a reality for us. But it all starts in the mind, right? We gotta change our mindset, how we think about things, the cost versus the value of things, the way we spend our time. Don't trade your time for money necessarily or if you have to, because we all have to. I'm not saying go home and quit your job. We all have to do it. But understand that if I'm trading my time for money, I'm getting something valuable out of this too. I'm going to use this money to do this. Don't be afraid to buy coaching. I tell people all the time, if you could buy it, if you can afford it, do it. Not with me, because, but whoever you find valuable. There's people out there that are valuable, that aren't scammers, that they will teach you. And what I find is when you do change that mindset, you understand that successful people want to help. Successful people want to help. Why? Because they've gotten enough money to understand that the money don't really mean that much without the connection, right? I need to be connected to people. I need to serve to feel purpose. Without any of these, without all four of them, you have no purpose. You don't feel anything. So it's important that you serve. Don't just do things that you like by themselves. Okay, yeah, you like it, but nobody cares. See, when we have businesses, what we don't understand, this is the biggest thing that I think people need to grasp too. When you're trying to go from zero to becoming rich, don't nobody care. Nobody cares. I don't care if you have a business that you think is dope. I don't care if you love what you created. That's discouraging and encouraging at the same time, right? Because it gives you a roadmap. How can I make people care, right? Where do I go from here? How do I make them care? Okay, now we're asking questions. Now we're starting, that's mindset thing. Now when you start asking questions, now you're thinking about how you can be successful past yourself. Well, how do I make people care? How? You serve them. What is important to you? Not what is important to me. Not what's gonna make my day better. People go, buy this, man. I made it. You know what 2 words come to your mind really quick? So what? No, so what? It's the best thing in the world. So what, man? I got somewhere to be. Man, let me show you. No. But if I say, hey, man, this right here, that the way your knees hurt when you walk, this right here help me, help my knees. I think it'll help yours. Let me see that. What is that? Let me see. I don't sell anything to anybody at all. But when you serve people, people go, man, I would buy that if you were selling it. Then you don't have to sell it. People want to buy because you're doing something for them. When you come off as you're doing something for yourself, nobody wants it. That's service. That's why they call it the service industry. You know what I mean? We got to find a way to, whatever your business is. The Bible says whatever you do, do it like you're working for the Lord, right? Whatever you do, whatever it is, don't matter, whatever it is, find a way to serve people doing it. That's the easiest way to make money. It's the easiest way to make money because nobody is willing to do it. You have no competition when you're helping people because nobody wants to do it. Everybody's out for themselves. Everybody wants to make money, but nobody wants to spend money. Nobody wants to help nobody. Everybody just wants. This is why when we read the scripture, it says, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what's before thee. That means look at the opportunity that you have. Don't just look at what you could get out of it. You get what I mean? There's an opportunity in everything. Look at the opportunity you have. Don't just look what you get. When I sit in front of somebody at a business meeting, what I ask them is, what can we do for you? As successful as I am at this point in my life, by the grace of God, I ask, what can I do for you? What's your pain points? What's hurting you? How can I help? I don't have to do that. I can say, you called me to this meeting. I'm charging this. And no, that does nothing for nobody. So we got to look at service. I'm putting so much emphasis on that because I think that helps people the most when they understand I'm not helping nobody. If your business is not really helping anybody, or if it's not helping enough people, you're not going to be that successful. You're only helping 1 or 2 people a week. A brain surgeon is making, on average, about $200,000 a year, somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. That seems like relatively low for a brain surgeon. But he's only operating on probably 20 people a year? He's that much of a specialist. He's a specialist to the specialist. You're only touching 20 people a year. So you make now it's a highly valuable skill, but you're only touching 20, you're only servicing 20 people a year. There's no business in the world that it could be a car shop. If they only work on 20 cars a year, they're not doing that good, right? It's not about the amount of value. A lot of times we get caught up in that too, trying to be successful. How much value? I need to find a way to bring more value. No, you need to increase value. You don't need to bring more of it. You just need to make the thing that you have more valuable. I use toll rolls as an example. I was talking to my guy. Said, man, they don't do anything special, but when there's a lot of traffic, the toll roll price goes up. They're not doing anything different. They're raising the value of their product because why? More people want it. just supply and demand. So the toll road didn't change, the street didn't change. There's nothing that made it more expensive, but now it costs more because the value is higher. They didn't create more roads, they created more value for the road that they have. So just as a recap, first thing, change the way you view everything. If you're coming from nothing, you're trying to get rich, you're starting from zero, you're trying to get rich, change the way you view everything. Everything you think you know, let it go. Because a lot of times when we come from poverty, we think we know things, and the things that we know keep us from what we don't know. Everything that we do know keeps us from learning what we don't know. I already know how it works. No, you don't. No, you don't. Successful people understand things that you don't understand. How do I learn those things? Well, I got to be willing to get around successful people and get around the people that understand the things that I don't understand. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They understand the cost versus value. It's not about what it costs. What am I getting? If you understand that principle, then you'll understand how to be on the opposite side of that. What do I mean? If I understand what it means to value something more than I care about the price of it, then you'll understand how to sell it to somebody. Because now you understand that they value the value more than they value the price. If this right here was a magic pill, you were dying tomorrow, and this is a magic pill that's going to make you live forever, but it costs $1 million. Are you going to buy it if you have $1 million? Absolutely. Right? It's a lot of value in that. So it doesn't matter what it costs when you get the value. People will pay to have their problem removed. Successful people especially. This is why successful people have butlers, car washers. All these people seem like, dang, everybody's working for it. You got a butler, a maid, a nanny, somebody washing your car, somebody cutting your grass, somebody doing your pool. Because I'd rather buy my time back. I'd rather have the time than the money. I'd rather have the problem solved than the money. Everything is cost versus value. So keep that in mind and understand the reason that you want money, right? Why do I want it? Do I want money just because I want to feel good? Do I want it for my ego? Do I want it because I want people to think I'm better than them? Or do I have something I actually want to spend this money on? People don't even think like that. You just want to be rich. Why? When people say, man, help me get rich, well, show me the way, show me the blueprint. Why? Why do you want it? What are you trying to do? Man, I'm just trying to feed my family. Man, you could do that without being rich. So it's not that. What's the real reason? A lot of times it's, I want to feel like I'm better than other people. And that's not a good reason. Have money. Money is a tool. Money is a tool to help people. Money is a tool to do the things that you want to do. Money is a tool to help people enjoy life, not just yourself. In the Bible, it says, store up no riches for yourself on earth. Don't store nothing up for yourself, right? It didn't say don't store things up. It don't say don't store up riches, because it also says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So it don't say don't save money and don't have money. It says don't do it for yourself. Yourself being the operative word. So got to consider that, the reason you want money. And then when you identify your purpose, then it makes it easier to have a direction, right? We have a direction now. This is what the purpose is. I like doing this. I'm good at doing that. I can serve a lot of people by combining those things and doing this. And if I add God to it, now I got a purpose. Now I have a business. Now it makes sense. And the example that I use, like I said, I'm good at communicating. Will Evans, I'm good at communicating. What do I like to do? I like business. I love business, right? I need to communicate business, and I need to serve a lot of people doing it. So I'm going to communicate business to people that don't understand it. I'm going to teach it, even though I'm already successful and I don't have to. Why? Why am I doing it? Well, you already rich. Why? Why are you doing it? It's a purpose. It has nothing to do with the money. I'm doing it in service to people. It's because I'm good at it and I like it. And when I add God to it, now it becomes something bigger than me, right? So got to consider that whatever that is for yourself. And then have a plan to execute it. How do you build the business? Well, you got to count the costs. Don't quit, but always be willing to make an adjustment. Quit when, in other words, that's a nice way of saying quit the things that don't make sense. Quit the things that don't make sense. Make adjustments. And then spend your money. Invest it and reinvest it. Don't be scared to spend your money. Don't be scared to pay your employees good. Don't be scared to pay whoever's helping you good. Pay them. They're doing a service for you just like you're trying to do a service for somebody else. So be willing to spend the money because you want somebody to be willing to spend the money with you. Be humble, right? We're trying to spend our money right to invest it, and then when we get money off of it, we reinvest it. These are the things that I would say you need to do if you want to start from zero to become rich. I hope that this blessed somebody out there that was listening. I hope you learned something from this and take it and apply it. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. We're out here.